Welcome to the Alternative Dog Moms Podcast. I'm Kimberly Gauthier, creator of Keep the Tail Wagging. I've been blogging about raw feeding, pet wellness, and life as a crazy dog mom for more than 10 years. I've seen massive improvements in my dog's health since I began raising my dogs naturally, and I'm passionate about sharing my experience to help other pet parents.
I'm Erin Scott from the Believe in Dog podcast. For more than 10 years, I've been researching and learning everything I can about healing cancer, allergies, autoimmune, and mystery illnesses in both my dogs and myself. And I can't wait to share with you everything I've learned in case it could help you too. As the Alternative Dog Moms, Kimberly and I are bringing you all the latest dog health news that we're following and the brilliant people we're meeting along the way. Now let's get started. Hello, Kimberly.
Hello, Erin. I feel like we haven't done this in months. I don't know why. It's been 1 week, but I feel like we haven't recorded in months.
I know. Well, plus we're not recording on our usual day, and it just feels all off. Yeah.
But I'm like so excited because I have been so busy this week. I, of course, work and getting ready for Feed Real Summit. Before we started recording, I am frozen on screen. But before we started recording, I made dog food. I cleaned up the dog yard. I've taken the dogs out a few times to just run around, plus work. And it's been a busy, busy day. How are you?
I'm good. We had one of our volunteer wellness clinics over the weekend, and so I feel like I'm still I'm still recovering. So those are long days. We had 141 dogs.
Oh, wow. I think that is so amazing. I mean, my volunteer rescue stuff, which I also had an event this weekend, is more of the fundraising side of things.
Oh, I have that one this weekend.
So it's just like I'm just, even with that, I mean, it's fun. It is fun, and we did really well. And I bid on one of my baskets and won it because it was because as a board member, we were tasked with getting 10 donations, and then I took those donations and I made, I think, 8 or 6 baskets. I think I made 6 baskets, and one basket was, which I did want, it was the Starship Enterprise, and this guy carved it out of wood.
Oh, wow.
And then I bought like alien dog toys and stuff like that to go into it. So that was a fun basket. But the one I wanted was soaps and lotions and stuff like that from a local woman who makes them. And actually, I have one right here. She is called Wicked Witch Soaps.
Oh, I love it.
She has a one called Cashmere. And it smells so good. And so I put together a whole basket with a few of her different soaps and body butter and body creams and like bath salts and all of that. And then as I was there and looking at it, I was just like, I really like this basket. And it came with a really fluffy, beautiful blanket that a friend of mine made for the rescue. And so I bid on it. And I argued with my girlfriends because 2 of my girlfriends were bidding on it too. And I'm like, knock it off. So it went for a nice little pretty penny. It was a nice little donation. I was hoping to get it for like $30. I did not get it for $30. But it all goes for a good cause. But yeah, rescue is not for the faint of heart. And I don't even do the hard part. It's just not for the faint. If it were not for what I do with Save a Mutt, I would not be involved with rescue because I think that I would hate people. And I mean, I'm already, the people who abuse animals are already on the list. But it's the people who are just so irresponsible. Like, I saw this post on Instagram that made me so angry. And I'm proud of myself because I've decided I'm no longer going to comment on things when I'm angry. I don't usually do comment on things that I'm angry, but I just unfollowed and hid the page. And I think I ended up blocking it because I don't want them to even come through my feed. But it was some page. It doesn't have a pet name, but I don't know what it's called. I think it starts with a B, but it's not like a pet. It doesn't have dog or cat in the title of the name. Anyway, Instagram. They do a lot of cute little videos with pets. And they had one where a woman, and it was funny. It was funny because it was like relatable, where apartment building, a man is walking out with his dog and a woman's trying to walk out with her dog. She's first, and her dog sees the other dogs and goes crazy. And so she's like, he's flipping her around and she's trying to hold on to the leash and trying to get him to go out the door. And he's just like, nope, I'm going to go say hi to this dog. And she does manage to keep control of him. And the guy's like in the corner of the video laughing. And it was cute all the way until she takes off her shoe and starts beating her dog.
Oh my God.
And she only hits her dog a few times, but to me, that was
that's not okay.
that was not okay. And then you can see the dog is all, bundled
Freaked
up in
out,
fear
yeah.
and looking at her. And it's like, it's not funny anymore. So I go to the comments expecting to see, oh, that not cool. And then there were a couple of those comments like, why don't you train your dog instead of hitting your dog and things like that. But most of them were like, good job with the slipper. And
Oh my
all,
God.
and I'm just like, like what? It was so disgusting to me, and it makes me I forget that I am very much in this bubble of people who make dog food for their dogs, their dogs sleep in their bed, who like me, still has a dog walker even though I work from home because my dog loves his dog walker, and I can't. He has to come and see him. I mean, he knows his name. And so Steven still comes and walks Apollo twice a week. And, I mean, gosh, my dogs are you know, uh, I'm so attuned to their every mood. And like with Bella and her anxiety, and Buffy and her, rambunctiousness, and Zoe and her, she's slowing down, and Apollo who loves people and adjust accordingly. And I just could not imagine. I mean, I do get angry with them. There was one day when Bella and Apollo infuriated me because they chased a dog straight down the Centennial Trail and they got some yelling at. And and then there was some yelling, and they
But you're not
were
beating them with your sneaker.
but I did not pull up a sneaker and start beating them. It just doesn't work that I don't want my dogs to fear me. And if I have a problem with them listening to me, that's when I know that I need to work with someone. But oh my gosh, it just made me so angry that this was being shared as entertainment
Yeah.
rather than what it was. I mean, and the thing about it is I'm not judging the person, because I do understand being so angry with your dog when your dog just starts acting like an absolute fool. But whenever my dogs do that, I know it's my fault. I failed. I allowed a behavior, but the behavior it didn't sort of involve anyone, or it didn't bother anyone until it did.
Yeah, and, that's where you go to, like, a management technique where you, like, "I'm gonna move my dog over here, I'm gonna wait in my apartment until the other person goes by,"
Right.
It's like it turns from a training you're not gonna be able to train the dog in that situation, it goes
Yes.
to managing the situation,
I mean, yeah.
to set them up for success.
Exactly. I walk my dogs on the Centennial Trail practically every day. If I see a dog in the distance, if we're at the start of our walk, we turn around and we go in a different direction. But if we're at the end of our walk, my dogs will be fine. They may still be interested in stuff, but they're not going to be like, because they're already super excited to be outside. And, I train my dogs not to chase after anyone. When they see people on the trail, they know to come to me. And if I see someone walking their dogs on the trail, depending upon where we are, I adjust. I either move them to another part of the property, or we go into their yard, or we go back inside. But it's just, yeah, oh my gosh, I hated it. I hated that I hated that the video was used as entertainment rather than as an opportunity. Like if it had been a dog trainer sharing that video, they would have pointed out, here are all the things you could have done
Yeah.
to fix this. But again, like you said, it's like once that energy is so heightened, you're not in a training place. You just need to get out of the situation until your dog calms down.
Yeah, there's actually a great book on management techniques,
Mm.
and I did an episode about it last year on Believe in Dog, and, this woman who wrote it is a dog trainer, and her little dog would go nuts. She had a little chihuahua and would go nuts, reactive when dogs walk by their house. So she put, like, a strip of, like, window tint on the bottom of her
Oh,
door
nice.
because it's a Chihuahua, it's a little dog, and it's like, oh, that blocked the dog from being able to see. And, there are ways sometimes to manage things that are just easier than trying to train your dog out of that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, for me, there are there are times when we're walking, there are certain areas of the Centennial Trail where I know I can get off the trail just a little bit so people can go by. The worst part are the people who will wait for you. Because it's like, oh, I'm just going to say hi. And they're not understanding that. Like if I cross the street, and there's another place I walk my dogs where I'll cross the street. And so then they'll cross the street. So then I'll cross back the street. So they'll
Oh,
come back.
geez.
And I'm like, yeah, I finally go, don't do that. I don't know. Stop it. And they're like, well, we just wanted to say hi. No, no, we're not going to say hi. It's like, come on, read the room, people.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, like, where they are in their, because I know that when I was a new dog owner, I thought everybody wanted to say hi to my dog. I thought that, I mean, even now, I think my dogs are adorable, but I now understand that not everyone is interested in engaging with my dogs. And so I do ask, and if someone says, because there's one time where there was a dog and the dog seemed friendly, and Buffy is a sweet little girl. And I asked, can she say hi? And they're like, well, not right now. And I was like, okay, that's
Fair
fine. And I
enough.
think the lady was surprised. And I was like, that's fine. And it's just like, oh, we're not going to argue. You're not going to say mean things. And it's like, no, it's advocate for your dog. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting with the volunteer work we do. We have some amazing veterinarians who volunteer with their time with us. They saw 140 dogs, in a couple of hours. But it's all very conventional. And I understand why. I mean, it wouldn't really make sense to approach some of the things we see in any other way because, it's people who aren't receiving vet care except
Hmm.
for maybe this time of the year. You're not going to they're not going to be fresh feeding. It's not that kind of situation. So I do feel like, okay, well, we can treat this dog's ear infection, but I can see in our notes he's been here 3 years in a row and had an ear infection every time. And so I guess sometimes that it's hard for me personally because I want to be like, feed a better food.
Yeah.
And we're treating things with Apoquil. One of the veterinarians was talking about how she uses Librela with her own dog. And I don't have a poker face, as you've probably learned.
Yes. No, you do not. I don't have a poker face, but yet I feel like I could bluff people better than you can.
Yeah, so I'm like looking hard. She's like, "Don't start with me, Erin." She's saying it funny because she knows me. But yeah, anyway, it's just, but sometimes it's interesting to me, like hearing their reasoning for it. And she's like, yeah, my dog doesn't have a history of any neurological issues. I probably would have had to put my dog down. We've gotten a couple more good months out of it. Like that was their reasoning for using Librela. Just sometimes it's helpful for me to understand where they're coming from, even though if it was my dog, I don't know that I would make that choice.
Yeah.
And just hearing the stuff about the feeding, I just have to pick my battles, and
Yeah.
that's not the time and the place. And thank goodness I have you that I can then come and nerd out about all the stuff I want.
I mean, well, I have gabapentin on hand for Zoe, for if she overdoes it, which is, and it's funny because I have to I would have to go and have her blood work done before I reach a point where I run out of the gabapentin, because it's so rare. So I have a huge bottle of gabapentin, and Zoe goes in at the end of the month to get the annual blood work, but it's for when she overdoes it. And I was looking at, other things that I can do, and basically a blend of different things that would work for her. And I found that increasing her omega-3 fatty acids, and I started adding a little bit more of Winpro hip and joint. So I think for her size, I think she gets 2 a day, but now she gets 4 a day. And then when we have it, we ran out of it, but it's on its way, is Jope. Instead of giving her 2 a day, I just give her one a day of the joke. And then I mix in green lip mussel to her meals. And I don't do that every day, but I do it a few times a week. And that has been amazing for her. So she's actually today, because Apollo and Buffy go on walks on the Centennial Trail. Bella is afraid of bicycles, so she plays fetch. And what we do is we walk around the property, and we have 5 acres, so we walk around the perimeter of the property while I throw the ball back and forth for her. And Zoe joins us. And today, for the first time, we did 3 laps around the property. And Zoe was fine. No limping, she was kept up with me the entire time. And it's not like I'm walking super fast. And the property, there's uphill, downhill, all kinds of things. And then, she's sniffing things and all of that. There was a squirrel on the property, which we rarely see. So that was exciting. But it was so exciting to see her do a 3rd lap, because we finished the 2nd one and she was looking at me like, and not, instead of walking towards the front door of the house, she was walking in a different direction. And it was just like, look at here, she's still doing good. So I mean, I feel like a lot of the conventional things, they have a place, but if I can find something natural to basically get her to a better place, so that the conventional is something that I use rarely. I use, like, for instance, if there was a time where she fell down really weird, and so she was limping really hard. And so giving her half of the pill that was prescribed and just giving her some relief, and then also giving her CBD so she can sleep well at night, was something that worked for her. And instead of her having to be on a prescription for several days, it was just a half a pill for a 24-hour period, and then she was fine. So, but that's something that it's hard to explain that to people.
Yeah, we have carprofen for Nino, and I mean, I think I've had the same bottle for over 2 years.
Mhm.
And, it's like I've given it to him maybe like 3 times or something.
Yeah.
It was because of the bicep tendonitis before we realized that that's what it was. And, yeah, so,
Yeah, I think because that's how I always look at the pills. I understand that there is a concern as far as, and I look at it as a concern of taking it on a daily basis and not doing anything else. And there are some cases where a dog is so far gone that maybe that is just where you're at. But with my dog, it's like I look at these things as a temporary Band-Aid while I make adjustments.
and there's
Not.
sometimes too when you're also looking at the resources of the person,
Yeah,
and we're very fortunate, and I'm sure most people listening to this
exactly.
podcast are very fortunate that we can look to these other options,
Hmm.
and that's
And that we're aware of them.
yeah.
I mean, it's just like you and I have. Did you see my video about the rabbit hole?
Yes.
That was you. That was so you. When I saw that, I just burst out laughing.
That's kind of my whole personality.
This is like the emails I get from Erin. It's like, "Did you see this? Have you seen this?" It's like, "Here we go. I'm heading back down a rabbit hole." But yeah, it's like there's a lot of information out there, and it's not easy if you aren't part of a community that's constantly talking about it, where like we are. And because I do have people reach out to me who know, and they'll ask me, "What do you think?" And there are times when I have to say, yeah, when it comes to certain conditions, like ask me about allergies, ask me about joints, ask me even about EPI, and gut issues. I'm your gal, but there's so many other things that I have no clue, and it's one of those where I don't know if this is add a probiotic to the diet type of solution. I mean, unfortunately, it's like, that's where I send people off to. We have a really amazing holistic veterinarian in our state that everyone knows. And I was like, give her clinic a call and see if they've heard. I wish it were as easy as, change their diet.
Well, I feel like I really want to learn Animal Diet Formulator now, because how many issues that are we having with our pets that are some kind of nutrient deficiency? That's
Hmm.
really fascinating topic to me now.
Well, what's astounding to me is once I started, and I have someone sent me a recipe like days ago, and I still got to sit down and put that through the Animal Diet Formulator. But once I started going through the Animal Diet Formulator, because one thing that I always wondered is how do people formulate these recipes like on the spot so quickly? Once you figure out some key nutrients that you need, then it becomes a lot easier. So for me, it's a lot easier for me because I'm using a base mix, but I can formulate a recipe without using a base mix, without having a ton of ingredients. But there are certain things that are part of my base, like sunflower seeds and oysters,
Eggs.
eggs. Those three things are always in my recipes, and it's just like, yeah, it's kind of fun. It's kind of neat just being able to pull it together. What I find also fascinating is it raining? It's raining. Welcome to fall in the Pacific Northwest. But another thing I find fascinating is looking at commercial raw and finding it deficient. And, and maybe it's because it's like AFCO approved. And when I'm running it through, I use PDF. So it's going to have completely different set of nutrients compared to AFCO and compared to NRC.
Yeah,
It's like with NRC, and NRC counts vitamin K, whereas PDF doesn't. But I still think it's kind of cool.
absolutely. Lots of rabbit holes.
Yes. Yes, there are. So you found something about the pet food industry.
I did. It is very interesting to me to read something that's coming at it from an industry, like an agricultural industry perspective. So I'll have a link for you guys in the show notes. And this is called the Pet Food Report from the Institute for Feed Education and Research. And I mean, from our standpoint, I mean, this is like kind of nauseating, but they're like really proud of this. I mean, it basically shows that corn and corn meal and corn related products are more prevalent, like more tons of that are being used in making pet food than chicken. Chicken is the number one, of course, protein being used. But yeah, I was kind of horrified looking at this.
Yeah, because that means grains is 37% of, it's top five ingredients used in U.S. pet food. 37% of that is whole or milled grains.
Yeah,
Then you have chicken and chicken products at 24%, beef and beef products at 14%, and then marine products at 5%.
yeah.
So, if you wonder why dogs are constantly itching, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and it has one of those graphs at the top. I don't, or I guess, what do you call those? Where it like takes like the words, and it's like the
Oh, yeah,
words that are
the
like
word cloud.
yeah, like the words that are more prevalent are bigger. And yeah, it's like all the words you're looking at are flaxseed, chicken, chicken fat, peas, barley,
Hmm.
brown rice. You know, it's
I
like
see a
these are the
carrot.
oh yeah, there's carrot in there.
There's a carrot. I mean, it's what I find interesting is the idea of waste. Like, this is what we're going to do with our waste, and we're going to put it over in pet food. And I remember recently there was a conversation, actually, this person ended up blocking me. But she was talking about how she thinks it's hilarious that people like us complain about byproducts, yet we're willing to give our dogs bully sticks. And I tried to explain that's not what byproducts are in the US. I mean, yeah, technically, I guess, that could be a byproduct, but what we're talking about is basically the waste, the trash, the food trash from farms, from the human food industry being, instead of tossed, being, redistributed to the pet food industry. And it's just basically stuff that we wouldn't probably feed to our pets.
And like in the case of bone, okay, like
Mhm.
dogs, do need bone, whereas we don't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but they're really, really proud of the fact that 50% of pet food ingredients are upcycled products from
Hmm.
other industries. That's how they're pitching this.
Yeah.
And it says that more than 3 million tons of upcycled ingredients went into dog food and more than 1 million tons into cat food, using nutritious ingredients that might otherwise go to waste, such as organs, bones, or other parts of the animal that humans do not eat, or other co-products from the human food industry. And these efforts demonstrate how pet food manufacturers are not only meeting the nutritional needs of pets, but also contributing to a responsible and efficient supply chain. And that's where I had the vomit emoji in my email to you.
And the thing about it is that that sounds good. That sounds fantastic. And when you hear from traditional veterinarians who they may not quote this, but they're saying, no, this is all, I've seen where they say anything that's put in pet food is put there for a reason and it has a nutritional component. I don't doubt that. My question is the bioavailability of it. When we're talking about if pet food is so healthy, and I don't mean, I know not all, kibble and canned and stuff is terrible. I'm not saying that. But let's talk about like the cheaper pet foods. Why are we seeing dogs who are basically on Apoquel for their entire lives?
Yeah, why is half the dogs dying of cancer?
Yes.
Why is like so many dogs having allergies?
A reactivity. And I mean, there's neurological issues that we're seeing. I mean, that's not just pet food, but it's, the flea and tick medication. But there's a lot going on with our dogs that we aren't seeing this at the same level when it comes to dogs feeding fresh food. And I'm saying that without, a serious study to back me up, but looking at what Thomas Sandberg is doing with the Long Living Pets
And
project.
Connor Brady's
Mm,
doing a study too.
yes. And, so there's, I guess if I want to look at it as just an independent, I wouldn't call it a study, but just talking to people who are in the
Anecdotal.
fresh food community. Yeah, anecdotal. I don't see the same issues. I mean, granted, yes, there are dogs that, because I've spoken, I have a friend of mine whose dog is on kibble. She never thought she'd be a person who fed kibble, but her dog was not doing well on fresh food. No matter what she did, no matter what she fed, her dog was severely underweight. And then she fed her dog a kibble. And within, I think she said a couple weeks, her dog was back to a healthy weight and now is doing well. And it's just like, who knows? Her veterinarian, who I believe is a holistic veterinarian, is baffled as to what's going on. And it's just like, but that's one dog. But if you talk to some people who are anti-fresh food, they'll hold up that situation as evidence that dogs should be fed kibble and not be fed fresh food because look at this dog that didn't do well. And I'm still waiting for the veterinarian on Instagram to tell me about the hundreds of dogs that she sees all the time dying of food poisoning because they're fed raw. I mean, I'm sorry, it's been a few weeks since I've asked her twice to tell me more. And I'm now calling BS. I don't buy it. I mean, I want to know what exactly are these dogs sick and dying and they just so happen to also be raw fed or they had something, raw in their diet recently. And so that's where your investigation stopped. Or, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I don't buy it. Or the veterinarian. I'm still annoyed about this guy who his clients who feed raw, he prescribes them anti-parasitic medication. I mean, it's like, what is wrong with you? Did you not go to what you went to school, right? I mean, I know that there wasn't a whole lot with nutrition, but if the food came from the US, I mean, because that's why again I ask people where did the food come from? Because if it came from the US or DA, the human food chain, why is there a concern about parasites? I mean, because my only concern about parasites is with wild animals. But if we're talking about the food chain, which many of us get our food from, and the USDA and the FDA is all over these raw food brands, it's like, what's going on, sir? Why are you just adding random medications into a dog's system that they don't need.
And then the other thing I just thought was really stood out to me is just generally that the pet food industry, they estimate it at $51.7 billion.
Mm,
I mean, that's just, I
$1 billion.
can't even wrap
I
my
mean,
head around that.
if you think about it, that explains why we're still getting pushback. Although I was excited to see Primal. I think I already mentioned this. Primal Pet has a commercial. Every time I see it, I'm just so excited because even though I don't feed Primal Pet, the more we see these commercials, the
Yeah.
more it's not that raw feeding or fresh food isn't mainstream. I think it has been mainstream for quite some time, but the I say the lie that it's a fad, as if it's
Mm.
going to go away any time, is one of those things where I don't buy it. I think that eventually veterinarians are going to have to address. They're going to have clients that are like, hey, I saw a commercial on TV about this food. What do you think about that? You know, I'm curious to know how they're going to respond. What that, that that they're just selling poison on. And then if that's the case, can we now discuss the pharmaceutical industry? Because if you have a problem with that, we talk about the pharmaceutical industry, please. But yeah.
Although one thing I did think was interesting is it said, so this was a report prepared based on 2024 sales numbers. And it says, compared to the 2020 report, which analyzed data from 2019, the demand for premium ingredients has grown significantly, with marine ingredients increasing by 95% and meat and poultry ingredients by 34%. But not all categories saw growth, as the use of water in pet food formulas decreased and animal protein meals and fats declined by 12%. And
Mhm.
so I thought that those were kind of interesting numbers. And actually, like, the marine thing actually makes me a little nervous because it makes me worry about, like, the quality of the the products that are going into the pet food market if it's
Yeah.
exploded by, almost double
Like
in
who
5
who was
years.
throwing something away and now had a ton of waste and was like, "I know."
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah,
it
that's
it
the kind of
it
thing I'm thinking.
sounds like we're getting a lot more omega-3 fatty acids in the diet, but one, we know that once you bake the hell out of the food, those are not even it doesn't really matter. But, I'm really curious to know what are we getting? And that comes to it is like when anyone quotes something like this or a study, it's it's a time to you gotta ask questions. Who's behind it? What does this really mean? And if people aren't willing to answer the questions, then so be it. But, I'm gonna keep my tinfoil hat. Thank you very much.
But yeah, I'll have a link in the show notes, and it's worth checking out. If you scroll towards the bottom, there's like this big graph where you can see how many tons, and it goes through every single ingredient, like, and tells you how many tons of it are sold. So I mean, like, turkey liver, but like if you keep scrolling down, there's like duck feed and beef trachea and all these things that are, allowed to be ingredients. And you see, blood meal, corn grits, like I just thought it was fascinating looking at all these different things that are allowed to be in pet food.
The amount of corn that's in pet food by weight is
Shocking.
astounding to me.
Shocking. Yeah. More corn than chicken.
Mhm. Yeah. It makes sense, though, given what we see with our pets' health. So, yeah, that's interesting. I know when had my live with Ruby today, one question that someone brought up, which it's funny because it's funny how we just move on. Like as a society, something will be a big topic for a few weeks and then we just move on. But someone asked the question, are you concerned with the change of the BK pets and their change of what they promote? Are you concerned about how that's going to impact the pet lover community as a whole and our ability to start educating people? And I was just like, no, because it's like people's dogs are still going to get sick, and people are going to see their content and realize, yeah, this isn't working for me. And that's when, it's the same thing with everything else. If you can replace BK pets with pretty much a lot of influencers out there, especially when I saw a lot of them on TikTok, and they're all feeding the different foods, and they're doing the sponsorships and stuff like that. And it's not things that I would feed to my dogs. Eventually people will find their way to fresh food. I mean, I did when Rodrigo, nothing that I saw other people were talking about was working except for changing his diet to a fresh food diet. And then that worked. And then I was sold. And that's how it happens. One person, and then that person tells another person, and it goes on. And I was like, I don't think that that'll stop. I don't foresee us, like fresh food taking over and becoming the bulk of the industry. But I think that we can expect that it'll continue influencing as people start questioning ingredients and asking about, why do you think that corn is superior to animal protein for a facultative carnivore? It's like, I'll wait.
I mean, yeah, like you said, like dogs are gonna have issues, and people are gonna look to help them. And yeah, it doesn't matter what any one person on the internet says. That's why you're always encouraging people who are doing fresh feeding with their dogs to share what they're doing, to show how many people are doing this and how many dogs it is helping.
Yeah, because with everything, there's always going to be a different perspective. This past week I brought up or maybe this weekend, I don't know, my experience from 2023 with the PEA supplement.
Right.
And I reposted that, and I asked people, tell me your experience, because I know not everyone had a bad experience. And I want people to be able to look at the comments and not be afraid of this supplement. It's not about telling people not to use it. It's about making people aware that there is this rare side effect that can happen if your dog has serious digestive issues. And one person was kind enough to tell me, well, clearly you overdosed your dog. And because all of my clients are on it and their dogs are doing great. So you just did it wrong. And in a follow-up comment, everyone knows that you're only supposed to do it this way. And it's like, no, everyone doesn't know. It's like, when we're new to a supplement, it's not always clear that you're not supposed to give what the package says. You assume that if it's a product that you trust, coming from a place that you trust, that when they tell you the dosage recommendation, that's so correct. I did make a mistake of starting my dog at the dosage recommendation. I should have started lower and expected it and brought it up. And I learned my lesson. I mean, PEA didn't kill my dog. My dog was old. But, it still sucks that, during his last few months of his life, he had a period of time where he was feeling really crappy. And I don't want other people. And I've since heard from so many people that had the exact same experience, and they thought it was them, because there's nothing out there about any side effects of PEA. Everyone either says it doesn't work or that it worked great. But, and there's nothing wrong with talking about the side effects. It doesn't mean that the supplement is bad or that the brand is bad. It just means that for this dog, it didn't work. And it's just a reminder that all of our dogs are unique little beings, and what works for one is not going to work for another. We just got to ask those questions.
Yeah, we were fortunate that we didn't have any negative side effects when I used it with Penny, but it didn't really seem to make any noticeable difference, move the needle at all.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, with this whole thing with Buffy and her allergies, I mean, I squashed her out. I feel like a rock star because I squashed her allergies so quickly. But I know that every single thing that I did, there will be lots of people out there that'll be like, I did all of those things, and my
Right.
dog is still itching. My dog is still licking their paws. And it sucks because I wish that there was a magic solution for everything. Like if you say you just basically present the problem and people say do A, B, and C, and then you're done. But unfortunately, they're just a little more complicated than that. How's your girl doing?
She's good. The yeastiness seems to have calmed down some. I have got her over on some turkey protein now. We got a good sale on the Oma's Pride at our local pet store, so that was good. So she's doing well. I can't remember if when I did this in relation to the last time we spoke, but she had like a nose work challenge class, and we hadn't done a formal nose work class in a while, and she crushed it. She got all of them. We got our ribbon, we got our picture taken, and I was so proud of her. It's not like a title or a formal contest or anything.
Yeah.
It was just something our trainer was doing, but I was so proud of her. And she came to work with me, which she hadn't done in a while, and, got to meet my boss, and his nickname for her is Wrecking Ball. Came in, jumped up, knocked a whole bunch of papers off his desk, ran out. My old man, he's gonna be going to the vet soon. He has this weird thing going on with his eye, and it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
seem to be getting any better. And he's comfortable enough, but it's really bugging me. And this time of year, he starts to have some weird digestive issues. He's been having more of his like reflux happening again, and it was the same time 2 years ago when all of this started, because I was supposed to go to the first feed reel and then didn't because he had to have like an ultrasound, and that
Mhm.
was like the only day they could do it. And yeah, so we're like back in that same little bit of a pattern again. He'll have good days and bad days.
Mhm.
So there's something, it's just so interesting, right, with the Chinese medicine and these times of year and things, and we need to change up his herbs. And yeah, so we have a vet appointment coming up soon to deal
Yeah.
with all that. So, but otherwise, he's getting around good. It's definitely cooled off here in the Mid-Atlantic, certainly today. So we actually Tim had a dentist appointment this morning, so we were in no rush, and we did like our whole big walk like around the neighborhood that we hadn't done since it's been hot lately, because we had to go up and down this like big hill. And so he's doing great. We did the shockwave with his bicep tendonitis, so he wasn't limping or anything. And he's
Nice.
certainly getting around good. But yeah, I got to get this eye figured out, and his digestive stuff is flaring up again. So
Oh, man. My dogs are good.
good.
Yeah. My
I
dogs are
can't.
good.
He's 12 now, so I mean, he's my old man.
I mean, we're gonna have them onto the podcast soon, but did you take that test from, is it Soma?
Oh yeah, Sama dog.
Sama dog. I took that test and it was fantastic. It nailed each of my dogs,
Oh,
especially Bella.
so
I
it
mean,
nailed Daisy Girl, and then Nino was kind of like in the middle.
mhm. I always love
So
stuff
this
like
is
that.
Ayurvedic medicine. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. So I'll put a link for you guys. Yeah, we're gonna have Amanda on soon to talk about our Ayurvedic types. So yeah, I love learning like these new systems.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's just like it reminds me of the book that we had. What was it? I can't
The
remember.
5 element, the
Yes.
TCVM. Yeah,
Yes, it reminded me of that, and so, yeah, it was so much fun just putting that together. Yes,
I
I'm
love a
talking.
quiz.
I know exactly.
I
I don't know why.
Did you have, like, those teen magazines, like, growing up when you
Yep,
yeah, I know that's where it comes
yep,
from. We all love a
yep.
quiz. All us Gen X girls.
It's just like, I love it. I get such a kick out of it. So, yeah. What I loved about it was that it gave you information about your dog's type, gave you some things that you can do, not only diet-wise, but just, for them to support them just in life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like,
because it's,
what
like, food as well as, like, lifestyle and stuff too. Yeah.
exactly. So, it's just like, yeah. But, oh my gosh. But, yeah, I mean, Bella's she's my little freaky girl. She loves her consistency, and she has her safe spaces.
That's
if someone
Nino.
yeah, she likes her safe spaces, so it's like sometimes she'll get really excited, and I'll like, "Come here so I can pet you," and she's just like, I'm going to go sit on the couch because that was the last place I was and I'm okay. And you can come here to my space. And she's such a little funny girl. And she has her favorite place to sleep. Like if she likes to sleep right next to me. And if another dog is there, she'll just come to my side of the bed and make a noise. And it's just like, okay, well, let's adjust everyone so you can get into your spot.
With Nino, he has like this eye ointment that he's been getting, and he doesn't love it. And so like you can either do it on the sofa, but if he's on the sofa, he'll get up and go to the living room dog bed. So it's either like the dog bed or the sofa, and it's like if he's whichever one's closest, but if he's on one, he goes to the other.
Yeah.
And it's just very funny. He's very funny.
They're so funny. But yeah, all right.
Well, I saw an interesting article that Innovative Pet Lab is going to be coming to some Costco stores. And
that's interesting.
I thought that was really interesting because I guess I'm
curious about the price point.
Well, I'm curious about that. And just like in general, are like the gen pop of pet owners gonna like go out and collect a little poop sample and stick it in the mail?
Is like a person like you or me are like, ooh, yeah. I'm going to learn so much about my dog through their poop. But other people are going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was curious about. Like, I was excited for them to get more like, mainstream like availability and exposure, but I'm like, are normies gonna do this?
I have noticed that because we know that Fresh Pet is in Costco and they're in grocery stores, but now what is that? The one that makes the pasta dog food. I know. I've heard
a pasta dog food.
Yeah, it's I can't even remember I can't remember what they're called. It's not. I know someone's probably listening to this screaming what the name is.
Yeah.
It's like one of those where I'm going to see if I can look up its cooked dog food. Yeah, just food for dogs. They're now in grocery stores. So it's just like, yes, indeedly. Yeah. Thank heavens for smartphones. I mean, of course, they've made me so that I depend on them because I can't keep anything in my head for more than 5 minutes. But, it's nice to have it handy because of that.
I love when you see those, memes that are like, remember when our teachers told us, when you grow up, you won't have a calculator in your pocket wherever you go.
It's like, remember when they tried to convince us that we needed, geometry?
We do not need geometry.
Or because of my college, we had to take 2 statistics classes.
Yeah, I like statistics.
I liked it, but I've never used it. I mean, I guess it's probably helped me think about whether or not something made sense and better understand certain terminologies when I'm looking at things where I'm no, that's not a definitive statement. But otherwise, no, I don't use that either. There's many, many things I don't use, but hey, I'm glad that I went to school.
Every once in a while, I'll like be talking to Tim and I'll be like, well, that's clearly outside the standard deviation of that. Like, what are you talking about?
You sound so smart.
Or we saw somebody was pouring like a concrete ramp or path like in their backyard, like up to their shed was kind of up on like a hill a little bit, and they had like a I don't know, like a little shed driveway so that they could get it down to the grass. And Tim was kind of like, oh, I wonder like how much concrete you need for that or something. And I was like, oh, well, that would be like an a squared plus b squared equals c squared, like Pythagorean theorem. He's like, the Pythagorean, what? And then I'm like, oh, I thought that was like common knowledge.
Not anymore, Erin. Not anymore. Well, there you go.
All right. Well, you are off to Feed Real next week, and so I can't wait to get the report.
I know. I'm really excited about going. I think it's going to be a fun, especially our CPCN networking night. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious to know how many people attending are actually using their CPCN to start a business and how that's going. Like, is it someone who owns a pet store and so they have more knowledge? Is it someone who works at a vet clinic and so it's helping them support more pets? Or is it someone like you or I who are like, I'm just gonna start doing this on the side or as a full-time gig? And how many are getting education beyond that?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you should do the Animal Diet Formulator software. I think you'd get a kick out of it.
Well, I did see that the CIVT, which is the College of Integrative Veterinary somethings, they have a course that Dr. Barbara Royal is one of the teachers for. It's like a certificate program where they like really dive into using Animal Diet Formulator.
Oh.
So that was interesting because I was curious if they had like a certification program, but I actually had reached out. I had reached out to Dr. Recker to let her know about our episode where we talked about Nino and the
Mhm.
deficiencies, and then I asked if they had a way to learn the software, and so she directed me to them.
Oh, nice. And that is actually pretty cool. I
And you
really
get free
do
use
love.
of the software if you take the course.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, like while you're in the course, not like forever.
Not forever. Well, that's not fair.
I'll put a link for you guys if anybody's curious and wants to know some more. All right, we'll see you on the other side of Feed Real, Kimberly.
All right. Bye. Bye, everyone.